Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Parlay Show presented by Bet99. I'm Albert Vartanian. No Rob Conway today. He's on vacation with the family, so I'm solo. But joining me shortly will be my co-host today, Matthew Barnaby, former NHLer and our betting guru over at Bet99. Barney, how are you, man?
I'm good. I was a little jealous of seeing GSP and Rob in Vancouver after parties. Now he's in Kelowna. Like, man, that guy has a life.
He's living the life, and I know I saw that super edit of GSP at the club. They had the sign going, the bottles. That's a great time, man.
Yeah, I didn't get that when I went to Toronto, so I'm gonna have to talk to these guys. But it looked like a great time. The event was awesome. The UFC was awesome,
Yeah.
and Nunez winning, retiring. Pretty cool weekend.
Yeah, she's got to be thrown into the GOAT category, I think. She posted a video of all her championship belts. There's like 9 of them with the old belts, the new belts. She's been dominant for so long. It's hard to think of another woman that's even better. I mean, maybe Valentina Shevchenko is probably getting towards that point, but she has to go down as one of the GOATs, no?
Yeah, she's certainly in there. And when you bet it, you can't bet her just to win. You have to bet her in submission or knockout, KO, whatever it may be. But she's certainly in that conversation, a great fighter and just been a great role model, to be honest.
Yeah, speaking of GOATs, we'll talk about him shortly later on in the show. Nikola Jokic put on another fantastic performance, won the MVP. Barney, you predicted it, man. The Nuggets got it done in 5. You're hoping Vegas does the same tonight, but the bank account's looking pretty good today, eh?
It's been a good few weeks. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs.
Yeah.
You have to live through them and not, it's betting sports. It's not every day is easy, but some days I've always said I like betting in postseason rather than regular season. I just think it's an easier track record. Now, if we go back to the NHL and NBA in the first rounds, maybe not so much this year, but I really liked it. I really liked the matchups. I thought the books got it wrong, to be honest, in this series, especially being on the roads for 2 games, seeing the line at 3. I didn't think it made sense. So I hammered that twice, and it ending in 5 just made it a great, profitable series.
Yeah, the Nuggets showed why they're so good. And we'll talk about futures for next season. They're already favored to win it all, plus 460. When you think about you look at some of those teams in the West, not great. Memphis has some trouble. The East isn't that great. Who knows what we'll get from Embiid and Nick Nurse over in Philly. But we'll talk about that in the next block. Let's talk some hockey. Game 5 tonight in Vegas. The odds currently on Bet99. Panthers plus 140 to extend the series. Vegas minus 165. You can get Vegas on the puck line at plus 160, and the total is at 6. The pressure, I think, is probably on Vegas to close it out. How much do you know about, closing out a massive series? Like, is there a different type of mental aspect that pops into your mind heading into a game like that?
You know what? I still think the pressure's on Florida. Listen, they
Okay.
were the underdog going in, but Vegas up 3-1, being the better team, being at home, they can play loose. They aren't going to play tight. And Florida probably is going to come out and play hard, but they will be a little tight. It's inevitable when you know your series and season is on the line. So I think there is pressure on Florida to extend this. And Golden Knights have played great at home. They've been dominant. There's a better way to bet this game than minus 165 on tonight's game, and then just go to the series 4-1 series win for Vegas. That's at minus 150. So you're betting the exact same thing, but betting the series. So if you want to bet the Golden Knights, bet it that way. You'll have a better return on your investment.
I love that odd shopping. Okay, Paul Maurice, he actually mentioned this in his pregame presser. He said teams down 3-1 can play with a lot more freedom mentally. Do you I know you kind of just said you disagree with that, but do you think he actually believes that?
No, I don't think so. Never believe anything you read in the tea leaves and the notes or
Yeah.
what players say, like Mitch Marner saying earlier. We don't listen to anything you say. You listen to everything that reporters and what we say in various media outlets. So no, they don't. Their pressure is they win or they go home. That's fact. Vegas has 3 chances at it. There's no pressure on them. They'd rather win it tonight, but there's no pressure on them to win. It's all on Florida.
Yeah. We talk about players all the time on Vegas stepping up. The last game, it was Chandler Stevenson. And the game, before that, it's Marcia Show, it's Eichel, it's Stone, it's Petrangelo, it's the goalie. They're so deep. The depth, I think, is overwhelming the Florida Panthers. But the Panthers' depth, I think, is really going to be tested tonight. They were tested last game as well. But Kachuk, we don't know if he's going to start. He only played about 16 minutes in the last game. I think 4 or 5 forwards actually played more minutes than him. For Florida, if they even want a chance at coming back here, who needs to step up in essentially his absence?
Well, I think it's by committee. You have to get,
Yeah.
Verhaeghe, who scored 40 in the regular season, had the overtime winner in, I believe, game 2 or 3. And, a guy like Barkov, who's so dominant. But without a guy like Matthew Tkachuk that brings so many different elements, and he just wasn't himself in game 4. You could see right from the warm-up when he couldn't even take a shot. And after every hit, he grimaced and came off. And that's a tough loss when arguably your most valuable player is not at 100%, maybe not even at 80%, maybe at 60%. That's a tough order. So if someone's going to really steal a game, you have to look at in net, and that'd be Bobrovsky. He has to steal them a game if they're going to get back in the series.
Yeah, listen, they've kind of been undisciplined as well in terms of taking just really bad penalties time and time again. Look at the end of the last game. It was just pure chaos. I mean, if you're the Panthers, or not even if you're Vegas, you probably don't want to get involved in those things, but the Panthers are trying to pull them in. Is that maybe one way that they can drag Vegas out of this thing?
Vegas isn't going to climb into it.
Yeah.
Cassidy's too good a coach. I can guarantee the narrative is do not get involved. And that's been the way since game 1 when we saw that the way that they were going to try to play. The only chance for Florida was to get nasty, Bobrovsky stand on his head. Vegas is a deeper team, a more talented team, and that was the way that they were going to win. And they've been very good at staying out of it. So they will not engage whatsoever. They've matched physically between the whistles what Florida has done. The extracurricular or the after the whistle stuff, they haven't engaged in until they had to at the end of the game when the games were out of hand. So I don't see them playing anything but in between the whistles and everything after the whistle. Let Florida take the stupid penalties. Their power play has been amazing.
Yeah, Vegas 6 for 18 on the power play. Florida 0 for 13. Not good enough. I love this Vegas team though, by the way, Barney. Just they're so fun to watch. Everybody's all in from the goalie to the fourth line, all 6 defensemen. It's an impressive team to watch. And it's crazy that Bill Zito, was it Bill Zito? Not Bill Zito.
No, Bill Zito.
Bill Foley.
Bill Foley.
He's the one who called it when Vegas first came into the league, saying we're going to get this done in 6 seasons. I don't know how you even predict that, but it's unbelievable what an expansion team can do in just 6 years.
Can you imagine being like, listen, I played in Buffalo and the great fans of Buffalo, but imagine coming in like 1970 and seeing a team win it in their first 5 years of existence. Like how insane is that? Now, the league did help the expansion team, but all the other GMs in the NHL at the time and being up against the salary cap helped this team position themselves to where they are now. And you gotta absolutely love it for a guy like Marchessault to be where he is. He is going to be the Conn Smythe winner. I think right now he's at minus 625, and the next closest is Aiden Hill at plus 840. So this is going to be Marchessault as your Conn Smythe winner, and I think it's going to be after tonight. And again, if you want to bet it, bet the series minus 150.
Yeah, and how about Marchessault not being protected by the Panthers in that expansion draft? And then he goes over to Vegas, and now it looks like he's going to beat them for the Stanley Cup. I was just about to ask you about the Conn Smythe. So you have Marchessault, 13 goals, 24 points, 9-game point streak. Aiden Hill, obviously, plus 840. And then you have Eichel, plus 2,500, who's one of the favorites heading into this series for Vegas to win it. Not bad, though, Barney. 23 points. He got 5 assists in the Stanley Cup Finals. He's been good, but I guess maybe not good enough to overtake Marchessault.
Yeah, 12 goals in 13 games. I just don't think you can overlook those numbers. And Eichel's been great. And I don't want to bring Buffalo back up again, but how about this? They trade Ryan O'Reilly. He goes, wins the Conn Smythe, wins the Stanley Cup with St. Louis. Trade Eichel. They think, everything's Eichel's fault. Well, he just plays like a superstar in this playoffs and wins. And you talked about the NBA, and we're going to talk about that. But Vegas next year is already plus 1,100. They're the 4th favorite team to win the Stanley Cup with Colorado, Toronto, and Edmonton all around 860 to 900. So Vegas already being overlooked for next year at plus 1,100. Not a bad spot.
Yeah, who knows what'll happen goaltending wise? I think Aiden Hill's a restricted free
Free agent,
agent. They
yeah.
might need a new goalie. So Vegas have some things to do, but they have an excellent team. Okay, so Barney's taking Vegas tonight, but the series line, right? 4-1 minus 150.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, so that's Barney's pick for this NHL game today. Okay, coming up after the break, we're going to talk some basketball and maybe whether or not this Denver Nuggets team is the next dynasty in the NBA. Stay tuned. We'll talk about that.